role as the jungler, especially at the first few minutes of the match. But I know everybody's been waiting for this series to start. We're now in the draft. Action PH on the blue side, while Galaxy Racer is on red, as we see a hover on the Gragas, and that is a full lockdown.
Very flexible pick. Action PH is gonna target this out, but Camille, Akali is open to be banned out. Gaio as well, very flexible, and the map control is gonna be very, very big. And that being out of the question, will put a punish against Action PH. But Vi is gonna be the answer though. The single targeted CCs are now gonna be not available for GXR to take.
Yeah, that's true, because when we look at AIM's champion pool, or the more of what he usually picks up, he bans his own champion, denying that away from Spear as well. But another hover coming from Galaxy Racer. I wonder if that's going to be a target ban towards Echo if they do ban it out.
But the organizers have spoken, the team has spoken. We're going to have a little bit of a redraft in GXR versus Action PH. And I think there is a lot of champions who just ban out, right? There are a lot of foundations who just a lot for the first rotation to the ban. So maybe if that Katarina comes through as the second ban of GXR, I think they're opting to maybe go for a different case, because if they ban out Camille, Akali is open for Action PH. If they ban out Akali, Camille is open for Action PH, and now they're leaving the Baron laner a bit open for GXR. So maybe they're opting to go for more of the variety and different type of ban.
That's true. At least we'll get to check out fully whether or not your prediction will be correct. Maybe a Akali ban, but it is going to be Action PH on blue side. Swap of bans here, as that is a Katarina being now targeted towards JC.
So it switched it up. So Action PH is gonna ban the Katarina instead of GXR banning it out. But now, Orianna, a very interesting first pick. They want to prioritize the mid lane, so Aurel and Soul can now go into the beat of the second, the third rotation for GXR. The Baron laners are open. Camille, Akali for GXR to take in. And on top of all that, you also have the Braum, you also have the Seraphine for them to utilize if they want to go for it. And Pantheon is also open, but Akali and Camille is now going to be locked in for GXR.
I mean, you mentioned might as well pick it up while it's open, but that means Kai'Sa can actually get picked up by Riots here, by Action PH. You know, the usual second rotation ban on blue, second rotation pick. But if you want that good matchup at the top side of the map, might as well get the Fiora. I mean, Akali could still be picked up by JC.
And GXR could do the same thing as what had happened yesterday. No ADC lineup, but they went in for the Seraphine Sona duo. If GXR has the handle to it, they could pick it up. But Kai'Sa is now going to be locked in. They want to prioritize the ADC. They want to have that range because they already have melee champions that are very strong. Akali, Camille, and now the Braum to match it up with a Kai'Sa.
Definitely the traditional, the special from Zivs and Draw with the Kai'Sa as well as the Braum, but AIM this time around falling back into that Lee Sin without that Vi. And we're talking about disengage here. As you mentioned, there's still no AD carry on the side of Action PH. They could potentially go for maybe a Xayah when we look at Riot's never mind, Draven.
Strong early game, it could be on pair with a Lee Sin that is strong also in the early game. So Action PH, we could expect to go ham when it comes to early game. But Galaxy Razer still has a missing mid laner. If Akali goes into the mid lane, this might be the jungle instead. But really don't know, because Akali, Camille are flexible champions. So it's now up to GXR on what they want to take in.
I guess it is going to be JC on the Yasuo, perhaps? I mean, we could still see Akali in the mid lane as well, and then Ikaros on the Yasuo, but it does make sense on towards JC's playstyle, and I suppose that's the final swap. We've got a Yasuo. Again, last time we saw Yasuo, it was Tatsuri from Team Secret dishing it out against Next Play, or rather against Galaxy Racer, and now JC is now on the Yasuo.
With Pal maybe coming right through for the side of GXR, maybe they're going in for a different type of playstyle. Yasuo is massive when it comes to teamfights, and if Braum with the Glacial Fissure connects right through against the enemy team to go for the 3-man setup or even a 2-man knockup, that's already pretty massive for the side of GXR. But they are looking at the Janna from Action PH. They are full elite champions, and Kaisa is a diver champion as well. So if that Monsoon is perfectly casted by that Janna when it comes to GXR diving right through against them, this might be difficult for GXR to punish Action PH.
That's true. I fully agree with you because of the double shields that we have coming from the Janna and the Orianna. And I believe sometimes Dragon's Rage can be used as well as a way to disengage. So a ton of protection for Draven in the early stages of the game. Very curious to see how the delivery system will work as well for Orianna's ball using the Lee Sin. So a lot can be done with Action PH's position, but just as you mentioned, definitely aim for something early. Hopefully they get to snowball early and get that early lead, and hopefully they get to close it out before Galaxy Racer just scales so hard, so much on their composition.
Definitely, because it's gonna be hard if they don't utilize your early game. You're fighting against an Akali, Camille, Yasuo. So these are scaling champions. So if Action PH doesn't actually punish these type of draft, it's gonna be very difficult for them considering they have Draven and Lee Sin as well.
Yeah, I feel like AIM will definitely have a lot of pressure for him to try and alleviate some of the threats. Considering that we saw how a Draven can be shut down yesterday by that constant ganks towards the bottom side of the map, basically making the laning phase practically over. So perhaps we'll get to see Xpear do that as well against Riots in Simon's lane. And now we're heading on to game number 1 between Action PH and Galaxy Racer.
Galaxy Racer, I'm expecting maybe to go a bit aggressive when it comes to the early game, considering they have the Braum, but also, you know what, they're respecting Draven. It's actually pretty massive when it comes to early game as well. So really, it's just an even level playing field when it comes to the duo lane. But still, the damage should be respected because Pao doesn't have any damage when it comes to the early game. So let's see how it's gonna turn out.
Yeah, Riot's actually hoping to get that first trade, as you do have the shield, but you gotta be careful. The stun actually kicks in. Barrier use, flash as well. 1 minion attack away as the heal is dropped, but now Simon is in trouble. They get first blood. Galaxy Racer will be happy about that because Action PH was the one that started it.
And that's what I'm saying. If Braum is very strong when it comes to early game, if that concussive blows rather connects against the enemy team, that's pretty much over. And you need to respect a level 1 Braum. And considering they fight from level 1, Simon doesn't have the heals, doesn't have the barriers, and Riot also doesn't have the knockback, and also does have the movement speed skill from his skill kit. So that's actually pretty bad when it comes to the level 1 phase against GXR. But I like the initiations here from Action PH. They want to target Kaisa, they want to put him down when it comes to the early game, and I think that's going to be key. If Action PH gets the successful punish against GXR onto the ANY.C role, this may turn out very good for their team.
Yeah, it's definitely not the best of starts, but still a bit, just a couple of 100 gold lead for the side of Galaxy Racer. On the top side, though, a little bit of here and there as Yamada, super low, forced to get the honey fruit. Forces gain, as Ikaros will definitely be happy about that. In the mid lane, though, as JC is just a couple of auto attacks away from perishing, but JC will be fine. As you can see, that Flash is actually kept intact. GXR bot lane, though, might be a different story, as I believe APH bot lane was able to stabilize at least.
Chaos happening all around. Top lane, mid lane, bot lane, and it's happening successively. And typically this is not what you want to see because the junglers are the ones that state where the strong side of the map is, but another fight will probably occur.
Another fight, maybe a top side because that's 2 junglers, but never mind, shifting towards the bottom side of the map. Double kill for Pao here on this Kaisa. This is definitely not that Action PH is expecting to be building because of that Draven pick on the draft.
Punishing Draven when it comes to early game, not letting that League of Draven passive scale out for Action PH is what GXR is targeting, and that is smart because the gold is now lacking for the side of Action PH. They're not able to utilize the early game, and Kaisa already built the card and might probably actually get that Acadian Rain upgraded anytime soon. They're currently sitting at a 2.5k gold lead. If they utilize this very well, this can balloon up into a 5k gold lead, and at that point, they can now dominate when it comes to the 5v5.
That's true. Having to get Pao scale up earlier than expected on this Kaisa. That means they get priority on the bottom side of the map. That means they will, GXR will be able to take control of that early dragon. But so far in the mid lane, we see JC Elite exchanging blows towards Eiko as we see Draw actually trying to set up for JC on this Yasuo.
There are certain advantages of JC and even Eiko when it comes to the mid lane. Eiko with Orianna has the poking capabilities, has the AoE capabilities, and Yasuo needs to dive in to just deal damage. But the advantage of JC is the wind wall, protecting him against Eiko's ball. Right? That damage from poking capabilities, that backside damage is going to be very important. So certain advantage, disadvantage, if they utilize this very well, they could get the opportunity and punish the enemy teams.
Absolutely, that is why we saw earlier JC getting that priority over the lane, but looks like GXR, the first one, I suppose, to get that reset in. As we can see, Draw already drawing the dragon out of its pit. As we can see, GXR already starting up the dragon. Meanwhile, Action PH already trying to circle around, heading a front-to-back rage being used by Action PH. That is a 4-man shockwave. And as we can see, Monsoon being utilized, but JC is isolating a target in the backline. So the fight is split into two as Draw leading the charge for the rest of the squad. Meanwhile, Galaxy Racer already losing just one, and 3 already for Action PH. But now Pao is having the time of his life with that flash, a bunch of other hits, auto attacks. And we can see Riot's just falling, unfortunately, but JC is gonna tower dive with one attack away, but that tornado will knock him up, making an exchange. And I feel like that is an official 4-2 in favor of Galaxy Racer.
That 4-man shockwave was perfect from Eiko, but the problem is the steps after that one. But now,
No, Pao is all alone. He doesn't have any summoner spells left except the barrier. But we can see Yamada is just gonna get one tower hit. At least he does survive after all that.
And I want to go back to my point. I think Eiko did a very good job to sending him a play, but Musin from Simon was a bit of an early type of setup because Draven was front face first in terms of the fight. Aim was also there. And that damage from GXR was absolutely insane. Kai'Sa's Acadian Rain is just something that melts the HP down of Action PH. So that Monsoon was forced out very early. It wasn't forced out because GXR is diving against them. They were not. They're focusing on the dragon. But now, GXR is going for a fight.
Yeah, hold that thought there as the Monsoon will be activated here. The barrier, the shields are not going to be enough coming from Simon, and he will fall once more. Quite unfortunate as we can see another happening in the mid lane as the Rift Herald actually being started by APH just because of that pickoff from in the mid lane, but I guess the fight is still continuing. X-Fear and the rest of the squad, Ikaros just deciding to back away, but APH, they're busy with the Rift Herald, but their bottom lane is actually getting incinerated.
Incinerated indeed, but now we have contest
over the Rift Herald here as we see that AIM actually secures the RH. And now Guardian Angel clock while GXR is just waiting for him to spawn back. And unfortunately, the rest of Action will not be able to. Whoa, a killing spree now for... This is just pure chaos as Pao gets another kill on the board for himself.
GXR having the knowledge, having the kill against Action PH. They claimed 3 members of APH. And they went in for 2-man roll onto RH, gets that, secures that, and GXR having the information that Action PH, the rest of the members were hovering into the Rift Herald trying to contest it. They're now available for the tier 2 turret on no one defending that objective. So GXR is just utilizing their map control very well. They're not letting APH scale out, they're not letting them counter attack with objectives from GXR. So smart move right now from GXR. Until how long can this last? Because APH still has the potential to go for the comeback. They have Eiko with a shockwave, AIM with an early play, Hextech Ultimate Dumdo from Yamada.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 1v1 situation. Yamada and X-Fear actually dueling it out, but the rest of GXR is actually here, so now he is in no man's land as AIM arrives in the scene as well. Trying to safeguard towards his team as Eiko lands there with a 2-man shockwave, but not enough damage to actually burst someone just yet as Pao arrives to the scene, getting hit by that tower as Eiko just wants to get that auto attacks in, but Pao survives. He is fine.
It's just the damage output of GXR. If you're looking at a gold lead, it's 11k gold. And that is not just something you can belittle. Because if you're looking at the items of Pow, Infinity Edge, BRK, Executioner's Calling, and that is just a direct counter onto Yamada, Simon, that healing potential will not be of a great use for ATH. So massive light needs from GXR, utilizing it very well, dealing out massive amounts of damage.
Looks like he's gonna be fine. He'll just casually walk away. I mean, the dragon spawned already, so now GXR will take their position in this area. Meanwhile, both mid laners from both teams are still not around, but we do see ANY.C first on the scene, and that will be a steal. Well, actually not a steal, but GXR actually secured that. We can see Dominant Action PH is falling like dominoes as GXR just focusing targets one by one. And unfortunately, there's only 2 members left. We can see Pow just rushing in with that killer, and no one falls. Ikaros even survives after all that.
When you don't have the Monsoon for side of APH and you just let GXR scale out, it's very hard. These are mobile champions. Akali is just dancing around. Pow with a killer instinct is just dancing around. It's just so hard. And JC as well with the mobility that puts in their draft. It's something that you need to punish. When you don't have hard engages and you don't have hard CCs like a root or a stun, it's gonna be very difficult. Their only CC now depends on aim, Eiko and Simon. If that doesn't connect, it's gonna be very hard when it comes to the 5v5.
Yeah, I think that is the reason why, just as you mentioned, they're having a hard time, and their only option is that Monsoon. And Simon, fortunately, a very squishy support is just going to be obliterated by the rest of GXR. And, I mean, Pow as well was able to farm up, get a lot of kills, but here comes the ult coming from JC. Yamada isolated away from his team. Here comes the rest of the squad. Dragon's Rage used to kick JC out of position. And meanwhile, here comes X-Spear leading the charge with the Hextech Ultimatum. It doesn't matter, as Right's the first one to fall as well. And a Guardian's Angel, you know what, they're gonna ignore that X-Spear dives under the tower, and bodies keep piling on in here. GXR actually gets rewarded by another tower, and unfortunately only Yamada is here. Alive, and a little bit extended as GXR, do they want the kill? No, they do not. They do not want to be greedy, and they will decide to just go for the Baron.
They're utilizing the death timer. Look at that. It's now gonna be only Simon. Riot's gonna be alive in 1 second. Eiko as well, but at the end, they got a lot of damage, they got a lot of items, and they just melted the Baron Nashor's life down. Yamada going for 3v1. There are 3 people looking to kill him.
Yeah, nicely done Riposte, nicely done Tornado as well, but as we can see, Action PH is gonna try and retreat. Ult activates, as we can see JC eliminating the rest of the squad from action. Pow leading again, being on that front line as he gets another kill, double kill. Their AD carry is gone for action, and Pow dives in, kills 2 more, and that is a quadra kill.
With the quarter kill, with the ace, with a team wipeout, GXR with the burn buff is now pushing in the mid lane. They're now looking for the next one.
This is such a fast game. 11 minutes for Galaxy Racer from start to finish, from the bottom portion of the